Okay, good evening from Kuala Lumpur. It's 9 p.m. right now. I'm Mushida and I'm with
Sales
yes, I did. Yeah.
Husband and co-founder.
Yeah, Love and Respect Transforms Holdings. We're very excited. This is the first time we're doing our meetup here in the evening because we are so happy to have Elyse here with us, and she will be sharing a lot of tips, some good inspiring stories about her life and how she can also be able to relate to some of your questions. If any of you have questions, please post them here, raise your hand. Before we begin, since we have a few people here already, why not you all introduce yourselves, and then we'll continue with that. So Nur Hayati, can you introduce yourself, please? Hayati, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Please introduce yourself, where you're from.
Hi, I'm Nur Hayati. I'm from Singapore. I'm the founder of the Rapid Fat Burner. Why? Because I used to be obese, super cute, that people around you saying that you're fat and label me as Mister because I'm not married yet, still single at the age of 46. So moving forward, feel the pinch, so my intention is just to help not only women but men to lose weight naturally. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariati. Okay, and we have Zahira. Please introduce yourself, Zahira, where you're from.
Hi everyone. Okay, I'm Zahira and I'm from Malaysia. I'm an organic skincare formulator and I run an organic skincare business, a brand called Hana Dazzle Organic Skincare. And the reason I went into this organic skincare business, I suffered from severe damage on my skin, and I couldn't find any skincare out there in the market that satisfies my desire to repair my damaged skin. So in the desperation of finding a good skincare, I started dabbling into the organic skincare, and eventually I became a skincare formulator. So I'm here to learn and pick everybody's brain and to grow more as a woman and also in a business. Thank you so much.
Okay, wonderful, Zahira. Thank you. And Pamela, welcome, Pamela. Please introduce yourself, where you're from.
Hi everyone, I'm Pamela. I'm from Singapore. So I'm actually the founder for VT Results. And basically I'm into holistic healthcare. So for myself, my story is I was in depression for more than 10 years. And I've actually, I wrote my own book on my own healing journey. And yeah, so right now I'm actually here. I'm doing more onto holistic wellness and healing for people with anxiety and depression and emotional healing. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela. Okay, Elyse, before I pass it to you, I'm just going to share a little bit about this community and why we do what we do. Okay, so just going to share our screen right now. So yes, today's session is with Elyse Archer. She is from the founder of She Sells in the US. And we're very happy to have this topic, and it's a topic that I hope will be able to relate to some of you who are watching this or listening in. And we hope that you will be able to find a solution to some of the challenges that you are facing. Okay, so the next thing is a little bit about what we do is our mission is to eradicate poverty, accelerate success in life and career by providing long-term quality education and mentorship in our business. So our company values are compassion, sincerity, and love and respect.
Yeah, this you see the photo here is actually one program that we did for refugees. They have two kids who are these parents. They have two kids who are hearing impaired, and they couldn't repair the hearing aid, so the child couldn't hear for 5 years. So and we were able to use our profits and raise funds to be able to get them to fix their hearing aid. So this is the first time in 5 years that the child can hear the parent, and that's why the mother was crying at the back. So we were crying as well. It was a very emotional moment. So that's what we do. We actually look out for marginalized communities who are people who cannot fend for themselves, doesn't have a voice, and we actually provide them the necessary education, the mindset, and the skills for them to get out of poverty. Not only get out, but thrive and be successful as well.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And we have a One Health One model. Every training, coaching, even membership into our platform contributes to the mindset and skill set training of low-income families like the homeless, refugees, and other marginalized communities. Yeah. So this is a little bit about us. Live a Legacy is a platform and community to connect, mentor, and create visibility for conscious entrepreneurs offline and online. The purpose is to generate and grow profits with purpose. And as a community, we contribute to social causes to create positive impact globally. Our goal is to have sustainable impact on society, people, environment, planet, and economy, society.
Yep.
And I started this also the family leadership community where it is a women's leadership development group under the Live a Legacy platform to develop and empower women as leaders and contributors to the growth of the economy and people development in the society. Yeah. So basically, these are the areas that we support the business owners in our community with. Number one is mindset around money, around their confidence and resilience.
Yeah.
And we're so happy that yesterday we got a few of them to speak on the international stage on Clubhouse. And it was like until now, people are talking about it, you know.
Yeah.
So it is a breakthrough for people, for the women in our community to be able to express themselves, even for a short while, to a global audience. The other thing we do is assist them with marketing, like branding, and to mentor and support businesses to grow and get visibility offline and online. And the other area that we support you with is also networking, to get businesses to be conscious and connect with other conscious businesses around the globe that is profitable and doing good. And last but not least is to leave a legacy, which is what is your social impact? Let's create a profitable business that is not only good for you, but it's good for people in general and the planet as well.
So together we live a good life, but we also make the world a better place at the same time.
Yes, because that's our goal. And this is how the support that we provide in the community, which is includes personal development, business growth, mentorship, women empowerment, global connections, business connections, and social impact creation. And that, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Elyse Archer. If some of you have already known, you've seen some of the videos that I posted on Elyse's podcast. Elyse is now she is the founder of She Sells. Her insights have been featured in major media, including Forbes and Inc. And she's also an international keynote speaker and the host of She Sells Radio. And I was very fortunate to be able to be on her show as well. And it's a very, I've been listening to a lot of her podcasts as well. And it's so valuable. All the tips in there are so valuable. I recommend that all of you listen to it as well. Yeah. And where she shares the best practices from female entrepreneurs and sales professionals who have accomplished extraordinary goals. And that's how we all can learn from one another. Yeah. So without further ado, I would love to now pass it over to Elyse. Yay, everybody give her a round of applause. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
thank you. Oh my goodness. I'm so humbled to be here. This group is phenomenal. And even just hearing from those of you who shared your backgrounds and your stories and what you're about, like I can relate to so many of the challenges, the hardships, and then just your hearts are so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So Elyse, I'd love to know, maybe you can share about how do you get started? And we love to hear your backstory, like what happened then that brought you to what it is that you're doing right now.
Sure, I would be happy to. So I'll share and just interrupt me at any point if you want more details or if I can clarify anything. So I think my journey has probably been one, I would imagine, like a lot of members of this group, because I find it's kind of the human journey, which is seeking happiness, fulfillment, validation, and worth from everything outside of me, only to find that it wasn't there. And so that journey created a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities along the way, but the challenges have really refined and shaped me. And I'll share a couple of those today with the hope that they really, speak to and serve the beautiful community that's here tonight. So my own journey growing up, I loved all things beauty and I wanted to be a makeup artist. And I loved doing my makeup and my sisters and just pouring through beauty magazines from a really young age. But the problem was I never looked like any of the women in those magazines. And this was the early 90s and the body positivity movement hadn't started yet. So it was all those of you who grew up around this time, very stick thin, these gorgeous supermodels who were kind of like the ideal of beauty. And so I learned really early on to compare myself to them. And I never felt beautiful or pretty enough. And then throw in some dance classes where I was a little bit bigger than the other girls. And I started comparing myself and never feeling good enough. And I didn't realize I was setting myself up for decades of really hating my body and not trusting it either. And there was a moment for me where things really spiraled. And I think each of us kind of has that moment, that pivotal moment in our lives where things really transformed. And for me, it was one night where we were sitting around the dinner table, and this was right back after we had gotten back from a family trip to Paris. And I'm sure many of you have been to Paris or you know about Paris, and it's aside from having baguettes on every street corner, you walk a lot. And I had lost a little bit of weight on this trip from all the walking we had been doing. And so we're back at the dinner table. This is, I was in my early teens. I think I was 12 or 13 and having dinner one night. And my dad was someone who I loved dearly, but he was very focused on work. And so I just never really felt like I got the attention from him that I had desired growing up. And he did the best he could at the time. But I remember he looked at me and he gave me this one little innocent comment that it was literally just meant to be a compliment, but it changed my life. And he said, "You look good." And that was it. He just said, "You look good." And from this, my dad, who's this man whose attention I had so desperately wanted for so long, that meant so much to me. And couple that with starting to get compliments at school about how I'd lost weight and finally getting noticed by boys and all of that. And I took that, my brain took that to mean the smaller I get, the more worthy I am of love. And that if I could continue to just be smaller and look better, then I would be worthy of everything I wanted. And so that began what would turn into a 17-year journey of having an eating disorder, hating my body, trying so hard to fit in to the molds that society says will make you happy. And so along the way in that journey, I went into sales because I'd also picked up this message from society that to be worthy and happy, I needed to make a lot of money. And sales was the best and fastest route to get there. I've always liked nice shoes, nice things. I was like, Mama's got to get some nice shoes, so I'm going to go into sales. So I go into corporate media sales, and of course, type A overachiever who wanted validation and praise from other people. I did whatever it took to be at the top of the leaderboard. So I would live on 4 hours of sleep a night, burn the candle at both ends, run my body into the ground. And I found myself in my mid-20s with this life that I thought would make me happy. I was married. I was a six-figure earner, had a nice house, the BMW, good social life. But no one knew, even though on the outside it looked like I had it together, no one knew on the inside how much I really hated myself and my life. And no one knew that I was still struggling with the eating disorder, had a lot of fear around the money going away. The man I was married to was emotionally abusive. And one of the hidden blessings in this part of my life was because I had really long car drives to go visit customers at the time. I was in corporate media sales, and I did not want to be alone with the thoughts in my head during that time. So I discovered podcasts. I just needed something to fill the space. And I kind of just stumbled into personal development through these podcasts, which blew my mind. I'd never heard, our household growing up was very analytical, very logical. I'd never heard that I could create a totally different life for myself if I wanted to. And so I got hooked on this concept of personal development. And right before I turned 28, I made a decision. And 28 has always been a really special number to me. I was born on the 28th. I see 28s everywhere. And I decided that I wasn't going to let this 128th year of my life be like the last decade had been. And so I decided to do everything that terrified me and go on this journey of releasing everything I had created up until that point in my life. And for the past 7 years now, I've done things and made decisions that terrified me in the pursuit of seeking the truth of what life is actually about and where real happiness comes from. And so in that moment, right before I turned 28, I decided to leave the marriage, and I was very scared of the judgment that would come from that. But I knew for me personally, that was the decision I had to make. I left the safe corporate job to go out on my own and start my own business. I shared with a mentor that I had been struggling with the eating disorder and finally got help and healing for that. And life started to transform really fast. And there were some pretty miraculous things that happened along the way. And one of which was just last year, which I'll share if that's okay, because it really inspires and fuels a lot of what I do today for women. So fast forward 7 years, a lot happened in that time, but fast forward 7 years and life had been really good. Life has been really good. So I healed a lot of the relationship with my body. I got remarried to this amazing man who's my soulmate, had our son, Jack, last year. He's turning 1 next week. And all of this was done from a more grounded, more whole energy. And I was running my business and having success, but if I'm being honest, I still had some demons. And the biggest one was around money, which is why I love how you all focus on money and helping people earn more money. And I couldn't figure out why I was still struggling with anxiety every month over whether there would be enough. I was earning low 6 figures, but I was struggling with whether there would be enough, whether the money would all go away. And I found that I kept bumping up against an income threshold. And I'm just going to share for context here, just numbers for context so everyone can kind of get the story. So for me, I couldn't figure out, for US dollars, I couldn't figure out how to make more than about 100,000 a year. And it didn't seem to matter what I did. I would always hit that income threshold. I would hire the best coaches, put in better processes, et cetera. But nothing changed. And last November, my coach at the time said, I want to do an exercise with you. And I was like, okay, sure. I'm always up to do a great coaching exercise. And I didn't think much of it, but she said, I want you to journal about your 5 dream lives. And if you could have 5 dream lives and do anything, what would they be? And she said, you can think back to when you were a little girl, or you could think now to the things that you've said, it's just not going to happen in this lifetime. It's just not for me. And just write about it. And there was some things just clicked at the right time in our lives where I was really open to this. And I did the exercise and things showed up that I'd been suppressing, wanting to do for so long. One of which was retire my husband from his job so he could go full-time to medical school. One of which was create a sanctuary, an animal sanctuary where people could also come and heal, where animals and people can come together and heal. One of which was to be a philanthropist, like the work that you do. And I remember I looked at this list and first I thought, well, these are going to take a lot more than 100,000 a year to do. And second, I started looking at other people who had done things like this. And I wondered, who am I waiting to give me permission to say I can do this? And who's going to come tell me that it's finally time? And something just clicked. And I don't know if it's I'm getting older or we had our son or what, but something clicked that I decided I'm done playing small in any area of my life. And I'm done giving my power away to other people to tell me it's time or I can and can't do something. And so I just decided in that moment, and I said, God, whatever I need to do to break out of this rut I've been in and finally show up and play at the level that I need to in order for these dream lives to happen, I'll do it. And so a couple weeks later, I got this nudge, this instinct that I needed to hire a woman as a coach. And she was not someone who I even followed that much online, but I just got this very strong download. You need to hire her as a coach. She helped moms build 7-figure businesses. And so I said, okay, I'll get on a call with her and see what it's all about. And we're doing the call. Everything feels right. Yes, yes, yes. Until she tells me that the investment to work with her is $50,000. Now, I don't care what you made last year, but take half of what you made last year and imagine feeling like you need to invest that in coaching right now. And that was I knew I had to do it. I had no idea how the money was going to work. And I had committed, I had told God, I'm going to do what I need to do to make this happen. And it was a very terrifying moment to try to figure out, where is the money going to come from to do this, to even do the deposit on the coaching. And number two, tell my husband I need to do this. But with about, a week of struggle and a week of grappling and internally wondering, isn't there a better way to do this? Can't I not hire her? Really trying to justify not doing it. I finally said, Elyse, you committed to doing whatever God tells you to do, and you need to do that. So scrape together a combination of credit cards and some savings and hit the order on the deposit for her coaching. And in that moment, it felt like an out-of-body experience. It felt terrifying. And I went into 3 weeks of absolute torture of myself. Every money demon I had came up. Every bit of self-doubt came up. Every bit of, oh my gosh, did I just ruin our family's financial future came up. I was the breadwinner in our family, so I had to figure out how to even just make the money to pay back for this. But what I'll say about what happened in those 3 weeks was I was forced to face every demon I had around money, around self-worth, around possibility. I had to go deep into figuring out where my limiting beliefs came from around money, around what's possible. I had to do a lot of emotional healing. I started studying energy, financial frequency, quantum physics. I did everything that terrified me, launched a new program, put myself out there way more on social media. And within 6 weeks of making that decision, I went from having $100,000 years to $100,000 months. And to this day, fast forward, this is 6 months now from that decision. Yesterday, we retired my husband from his job. He's now able to go full-time into medical school. And more importantly to me than the personal transformation it's created, and this is what I really would love to talk with everyone about today, is my heart now is helping other women having the same type of transformation in their lives, learning that they don't have to be in struggle, learning that they can have more and they can have it quickly, learning to step up and show up and claim everything they want in their lives for themselves, for their families, and for future generations. And so that was a really long story, and that's why I'm here. And I'm an open book. Any questions you have, I would love to answer and speak about.
Love.
Yeah.
So turning your yearly income to your monthly income, right?
Yeah.
That is like, wow, so amazing. I want to ask you that 3 weeks, that since you signed up with that coach, what kind of demons came up? Some people will recognize that. What goes on? What goes on in your mind and in your life? Please share.
Yeah, and what do you overcome it? Yeah.
Absolutely. So every demon you can imagine, feelings of not enoughness. And to be honest, it probably sounds counterintuitive. That's part of why I did it, because I had studied enough to know personal development, to know that whatever my beliefs about what was possible for me in life and finances, et cetera, whatever I believed to be true would be true for me. And I knew I had money demons. I just had never really faced them head on. And that's part of why I made that investment, because I knew I would have to face them head on in order to even be able to survive through that. But one of the, there were two things that I think were really helpful to me that I learned during that time. One was that whatever challenges you may feel you have around money, they're not really about money. So money is I don't know the kind of the makeup of the group, but I study a lot of like chakras and energy centers in the body. I know we've got a lot of wellness people here. So money is root chakra. Money is it just represents security to most people. Growing up, your relationship with your parents or whoever raised you it represents security. That's also root chakra. So whatever dynamics played out with your parents growing up will tend to play out with money later on. And so for me, my experience growing up was that our family was always intact. So mom and dad were always there, but I always was in fear that my dad was going to leave. And when I realized that I was playing out that same dynamic with money, where it was always there, but I was always afraid it was going to leave, that helped me reestablish a new relationship with money. And so I started thinking about money as if it was a person, and thinking about, okay, if I wanted a beautiful relationship with a person in my life, how would I speak to them? How would I feel about them? Would I be afraid that they're not going to be there? Would I also feel like they were dirty and not want to talk about how I like them? Or would I welcome it? Would I love that person? Would I speak positively to them? Would I tell them to come and be around me all the time and let's go do great things together? I work with a lot of women who have trauma backgrounds of some sort. And a lot of women I work with grew up with one or both parents alcoholic or abusive. And so that can create a money story for you later, that there's instability around money, because if mom or dad didn't feel stable, if you felt like you had to be perfect to receive their love, that will play back out with money, where you feel like you've got to be perfect to have it. This stuff goes really, really deep. But knowing that, I think, is very empowering, so we can realize it's not about the money. So I really reestablished that relationship with money, understanding what it really was, what those challenges really were. And then I think the second piece was I learned how to examine the beliefs that were holding me back and create a new belief system for success. And I'm still doing that. I think we do that our whole life. That's not an overnight one and done type of thing. But I started learning from amazing mentors, and some from my coach, some from other mentors in my life, about limiting beliefs and where they come from. And the fact that when you're up until about the age of 7, your brain is basically under hypnosis. And anything that you hear from people, you take in as true. So if you hear that money doesn't grow on trees, you take that in to be true. If you hear your parents fighting about money, your brain takes that in as a little boy or little girl, that money makes people argue. Money is I want love, so I don't want money. So later on, we don't realize that that's the thing that's holding us back. So I started learning how to create new belief systems, and learning that when I'm in a negative emotional state, anxiety, fear, overwhelm, depression, anything that feels bad, that's your body's way of telling you that you were just thinking a lie. You were just thinking something that's not true for you. It's a beautiful, especially for anyone who has any sort of like I said, a lot of body issues where I disconnected from my body for many years. If you've had any of that experience, it's a beautiful reconnecting to learn that your body will tell you anytime you're thinking a limiting belief. And then I learned to think the opposite of what I was just thinking, and make that a new affirmation and ingrain it again and again. And over time, the belief system started to change. I started to feel better, and then that outer transformation followed. So I hope that helps answer the question.
That's very beautiful sharing. So for most people, right, they actually don't really know where whatever demons are coming from. Like, they want to do something, they really want to move forward, but there's just something that's holding them back, right? They don't know what it is. So what would your advice be? How do they actually identify what is the actual demons that they need to get rid of, or the solutions for it?
Sure, that's a great question. I think if you just take action head first into what you want to do, you will be exposed to the demons. And so we have to be willing to act, because those demons, it's your life. So you have full autonomy of whether you're willing to live it constantly being held back by the demons, or whether you're ready to let them go. And it's just a decision, and it's nothing someone else can make for you. You have to make it for yourself. And what I found in my own life is taking big, scary action, whatever that was. For me, it was investing $50,000 that I didn't have in this coach, or, go backwards, like leaving the marriage, speaking up about the eating disorder. So whatever it is, taking something big and bold, because when you do, one, your mind is going to tell you all the reasons why you can't do it. And that's your subconscious's way of surfacing the demons for you, so you can know what they are, because if they just stay latent under the surface, that's not helping anyone. And then 2, you'll realize that you're so much bigger than them. You'll realize there was nothing to be scared of all along, and it was all in your head. And what I think is more important is, beyond the physical reward of either the money or the opportunities that you'll receive along the way, the person you become in the process, you will love that person. You will be in awe of them, and they're in you right now. We just often learn to suppress them. And a lot of times we're scared of who they are. And that, for me, is the most powerful thing, is the person you will become in that process is unstoppable. Nothing gets in his or her way. And it's a powerful, powerful experience. And you then get to live the rest of your life as that person.
Thank you so much. Okay, now anybody else, you have any questions for Elyse? Can unmute yourself. You can turn around here. Hello, everybody. Yeah, so any questions? I know you do have. Yes, Zahira.
Yeah. I always have questions, huh? Hi, Elyse. All right. My question is that, when you say that you make decisions, scary decisions, in order to overcome that demons. In my case, I have this fear of visibility.
Mm.
I can do tremendous job in my job right now. I'm a teacher. I go into the class, I speak to students, I can do a very good job speaking in front of them. But when it comes to like visibility and coming in front of the camera and showing up for my business, I have so much fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like it hampers what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you overcome that? How do I overcome that?
Sure. That's a beautiful question, Zahira, and I appreciate you asking that, because a lot of the women I work with say the same thing, and I struggled with it for many years. I think the fear of visibility can come from many places. And with any limiting belief, to me, there's always a balance of how much time do we want to invest in figuring out where it came from, because that can be healing, versus just deciding that we're not willing to put up with it anymore, because we know how much it's holding us back. So I think what I find in terms of where it could come from, and it's different for everybody. For a lot of the women I serve, there were, it's usually some way, somehow tied to childhood or being younger, whether it was you shone too brightly growing up and you were told like, step back, don't be so loud, like don't outshine other people. I know for me growing up, there was often like little girls should be seen and not heard. And then even in our DNA, generationally, I mean, women were burned at the stake for many years, and there have been punishment for women for stepping up and being visible, and men too. So this is not just exclusive to women, but in different ways. So to whatever extent it serves you, you might kind of look back to say, in my life, and you can even just ask your subconscious, like meditate and like, where is this coming from right now, so I can heal it? Or you may know as I go through these issues, but beyond that, to know that let me ask you this, when you think about being visible and that fear, how does that feel in your body? What does the fear feel like?
It really, I want to do it, but
Mm-hmm.
yet I feel my chest tightens, very hard to breathe. I have been to breathwork with, a few weeks ago that in the community we did. When I do the breathwork, I feel so much pain in my body.
Mm.
So after 10 minutes, I can't do it. I can't continue.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what is the energy that is blocking why I can't do it. So even in terms of, it's not only visibility, it's in terms of money as well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm always stuck. I'm doing the business, I'm doing everything I can, I'm taking the actions, but I still feel stuck.
Mm-hmm. So yes, and so there's a beautiful quote that I would write down, and I don't remember who said it, so I don't know the attribution, but the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And so, Zahira, for you and for anyone else who can relate, because I know there are plenty of people who can relate, that becoming visible is the thing that's going to unlock you. And your body is telling you right now, because you feel that constriction, that anxiety about it, it's telling you that it's not true for you, that fear of being visible is not actually true, that you're thinking a lie right now. So this is where we have to shift, and you have to say, what was I just thinking about being visible? So what's a thought that you have? So I know it's fear of visibility, but what's one specific thought you have about what's going to happen if you're visible?
You're asking me?
Mm-hmm.
It's a question.
Yeah.
What was that again?
What is one specific? So sure. So give me a specific thought.
Okay.
That comes to your mind when you think about being visible.
All right. That I'm not good enough.
Okay. So let's just pause there.
yeah, who's going to listen to me?
Okay. So I'm not good enough. And that puts you in what sort of emotions? What sort of emotions show up for you when you say that?
Struggle. It's a struggle.
It's a struggle.
Yeah, it's a struggle.
Yep.
I'm unhappy about it because when I was growing up as a child, I wanted to be this famous DJ, radio DJ, or be on television. But as the time passed by, my parents, especially my mom, she would say that being famous is not the life. You have to work, you have to earn money by doing a job. So probably that's where it's all started. It's all started, that fear of being in front of the camera and speaking.
Sure, because it's actually the very thing you're meant to do.
Yeah.
So you can trust your body because it's telling you that what you're thinking is not true for you. So the fear of I'm not good enough, the thought of I'm not good enough, you have to flip it on its head and say the opposite, which is what? What is the opposite of that?
That I'm worthy, that I'm worthy, and I deserve it. I deserve the happiness. I deserve to be seen. I deserve to be heard.
Yes. And how does your body feel? What are the emotions you feel? Like I see your face light up when you say that. What are the emotions you feel when you say that?
I feel good. I feel good. It's like there's a light in my chest. I can feel there's a light in my chest and it's glowing. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that's your body's way of telling you that that's true for you. So it's a journey of learning to trust yourself again and knowing that mom and dad had the very best intentions and did the best they could with what they had. And that oftentimes these things get passed down generationally and they're usually just trying to protect us. Like that's it. But that's not, we have to examine these beliefs and say, are they even true? Is it true that in the entertainment industry, you can't make a lot of money? Entertainers are some of the highest paid people in our society. Lady Gaga seems to be doing okay. I don't know who your favorite entertainer is, but that's actually one of the highest paid careers in our society. So it's never true. We have to dig in and look at what we're saying and realize it's never true. And then it's a process. So that, Zahira, what you said at the end, those would become your new affirmations. So every morning in the mirror, I'm good enough, I'm worthy, I'm meant to do this, I can trust myself. My voice brings joy to other people, it brings light to other people, and just over and over and over and over again. And I would encourage you to take one scary action today, like not wait, take one action, do an Instagram live, do a Facebook live, and when you do it at the beginning, nobody's watching anyway. That's a great thing about it. Nobody. And when we realize that everyone is so worried about what other people think of them, that no one has time to think about you, it's very freeing. No one's going to care. No one's going to. We all get to, I got to drop the ego and realize that everyone was so busy thinking about themselves that they weren't really thinking about me and my lives. They were there thinking about themselves. Yeah. So does that help a little bit?
Yeah, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. Actually, I know that I have to do this Instagram live. I mean, even with coaching with Murshida, she had told me that you have to be active on your Facebook group. But the idea of just opening up the camera and speaking something, it really daunts me. So
the other, sure. Yeah. And so the other real quick thing just to be mindful is don't say that anymore. And I say this with so much love, but whatever you say out loud, like it daunts me, you're giving your subconscious mind a command to make that your reality. Whatever you describe, you prescribe. So start noticing when you're about to say something that's not aligned with where you want to go. And say, I'm excited to learn how to get good at this. I'm getting better at this. I know I can try this. I know if other people can do this, I can too. And we'll get there.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question.
Beautiful. Yes, anybody else has a question?
Okay, I'm going to say something. Something that struck me when she said she wants to do things big. That's what I always feel, I'm 60 and I have no time to sell biscuits or coffee or anything small. I want to do something big where the money comes fast. And so is this a problem? Because everybody tells me that you have to take one step at a time. And I don't feel that I want to do something just big. Is that wrong? Does it
No,
sound
not at all. How do I say your name? Is it Fairuz?
Fairuz? Yes, the 5
Fairuz,
roses,
beautiful.
and you remember me.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay. So Fairuz, no, not at all. And the other thing is start listening to yourself instead of other people, and start looking at the people who are telling you that you're thinking too big. Do they have the life you want? So you always have to check the source. And are you getting advice from people who have created what you want? Or are you getting advice from people who aren't happy in their own lives? Because everyone gives advice based on their own paradigm, their own way of thinking, which has created the life they want. I would highly recommend, there's a book called U Squared by Price Pritchett. It's a short book, but it's about making quantum leaps. And now that I've experienced, after feeling stuck for a long time because I kept taking advice of it's got to be incremental, it's got to be incremental, and then deciding that I was going to do it differently. And it's not, and this is not because I'm so great. This is because I learned from great mentors and had people like coaching me and taking big action. But to go from $10,000 a month to $100,000 a month in 6 weeks, most people would say that's not possible. Most people would say like there's nothing incremental about that. But it is, I'm living proof it is possible. And there's so many stories of people who have done this. And it does involve doing things that are scary. It does. But you have to decide, what do you want to look back on your life, on your deathbed? How do you want to look back on your life? Would you rather say, well, could have, should have, maybe it would have happened, maybe it wouldn't? Or would you rather say, I was a woman who really went for it? And amazing things. And here's what happens when you go for it, Fairuz and everybody. It's kind of like there's a long, dark hallway in front of you. And there's a door that's illuminated at the end of the hallway. And you think that door is where you want to go. It's the big, scary goal, the big thing that you want to do. So you take one step and you see just a little bit in front of you, but you're taking a step and you take another step. And slowly, 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 you're getting closer and closer to that door. But then you notice on the left-hand side of the hallway, there's another door that's flung wide open. And there's a party in there, and there's people in there who you love, who love you. And there's lots of money in there, and there's fun in there, and there's excitement in there. And that door, that's everything you've ever wanted. But you never would have seen it or known it was there if you hadn't started walking down that hallway. That's exactly how it works. You will either get what you want or something better when you decide to take that action. You always, always will. It's universal law. So does that help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that to do something big and making big money, I feel I'm being a bit impatient. Like I want things yesterday. Is that wrong or?
Well, how long? I hear you've waited 60 years, right?
All right, I got the answer.
I'd say there's no time like now.
Yeah.
Yes, Kak Fairuz, your time is now. You've done so much for your family already. It's your time now. Yes, yes, yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, thanks.
I need to sell a yacht.
Yeah, Maryland.
I need to sell a yacht to make that kind of money.
No,
No.
you don't have to. No, you don't have to.
You can sell your programs.
Inshallah.
Set the intention, yeah.
It will happen.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Who else?
Hi. Hi. My son. Okay. Okay. Oh, I can relate to both what Fairuz and Zahira actually shared. It's the same challenges that I had initially, but I actually I got this comment from my team member last time that Marilyn, you always like it's so easy for you to say because you always go head first. So I'm so willing to take risks, and I do a lot of experimentation. I do a lot of things as well, and even I'm not comfortable, I still do as well the things that I do. Like I'm running free master classes. I've tried mastermind, facilitating masterminds recently, and I even like speak, though I don't do that as well. And even like investing in myself, like I remember when I signed up for Moshida and Zill's premium membership, I was actually like hesitating initially because I already have like two coaching slash mentorship program that I'm in. And theirs is gonna be the third last 2020 when times are difficult. But so my question is that like I felt like recently that money is like not coming in as fast as I hope it will because of the efforts that I also do. So what should I do to like is there like a gap in between or what can I do to make it fast as well?
Sure, sure. Great question, Marilyn. So what does your mind focus on throughout the day? Does it focus on the feeling of lack of money, I'm assuming?
Um, because I do a lot of things, I don't think I do focus on that either. It's more on like what do I need to do? What should I do? To make everything work or right or to make it more consistent. So I do like I even asked my coach and mentors to like what else can I do to improve the consistency, what else should I do to ensure that um, everything is going to be sustainable not only for me but also for my clients.
So,
So,
and
yeah.
I'm just meeting you. So this is my guess, because this is what it is for
Mhm.
most people. My guess is that you've got amazing, mentorship here with Zeal and Rashida about what to do. But I would look at who are you being more than what you are doing right now. So we don't get what we want in this world, we get what we are. So for me, when I realized that what I was making wasn't going to cover my dreams, and I started looking at what it required and that I needed to be bringing in at least 7 figures to do that. I wrote a little sticky note, and it's an updated version of it. It's right here on my computer. It said, I'm a 7-figure mom entrepreneur. What would she be thinking and doing in this situation? How would she be acting? And I realized that my level of thinking and what I thought I deserved had gotten me to the point at where I was before, which was being stuck. And I thought, well, if I want to be a 7-figure woman, I need to learn to think like her. I need to act like her. I need to be her. And so I started literally acting like I was her. And I would stop myself before I was about to say, oh, I shouldn't post that, or, oh, I shouldn't put that program out there. I'd say, what does a 7-figure version of me do? She does it. And the other big piece, and Marilyn, this is where perhaps this might be helpful, because for most of the women I work with, there is healing that's needed here, is you have to feel worthy of the money that you want. And this can be challenging because we're taught that that's not right. We're taught to make ourselves small. We're taught that we're not worthy. But again, you will get whatever you think you deserve in this life. That's how it works. So I noticed I did not feel worthy of making more money for a long time. So I had to practice that feeling. I had to practice affirming myself, complimenting myself, telling myself I was worthy. And I know it can be triggering, and it flies in the face of a lot of what is taught, especially the religion I grew up in. And it's not from an ego place, but it's from a self-love. Just like we love others, we must love ourselves. And you must learn to see yourself as worthy of receiving that money. So I would look more at who you're being and how you're showing up, because that for me was the biggest switch. Like when I started becoming that woman, the money flooded in, and I wasn't doing anything crazy. Does that make sense? It was more about who I was being.
Yes, that's also the reason why I'm like thinking about it, because when I ask for feedback or comments, I also hear positive feedback like, oh, you're so passionate, you're so authentic, you're really adding so much value and all those stuff. So, and also I'm actually thinking if, I also question that to myself, because even before, I was like top producer, and even in my first project for my current company, it was already like a five figure for a 3-day project. So that's why I said, like, what, is there something that I have to look into or find, or fix or anything as such. That's
Well,
why I still wonder on that.
sure. There's never any judgment on it. But what's probably going on for you is what goes on for most people, which is there's some sort of a subconscious belief that you aren't worthy, don't deserve, etc. And so it doesn't matter what sort of opportunities come your way. If you've got a subconscious belief that there's a certain amount of money that's too much for you, or that it's scary to be visible, or it's not safe, or whatever, your subconscious will literally, it's designed, you've got something in your brain called the reticular activating system. It's designed to block you from noticing opportunities that would get you what you desire. So we have to learn how to shift our beliefs to see ourselves as the women and men who have what we want from the inside out, and shift our identity. And that just comes with visualization, affirmations, over and over and over, and you're reprogramming. You will always get whatever your subconscious believes to be true for you. So, and how do you know what your beliefs are? Look at your results. That's it. Look at your results. Whatever your results are in your life, in every area of your life, that's what your subconscious beliefs are. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Beautiful. Pamela, you have a question? Is that, no, go ahead.
Well, I love your sharing, Elyse, and it just kind of reminds me that I think what you mentioned about money was something that was actually a huge emotional block for me as well, and I had to do a lot of healing on that, and I realized that when I started healing all that blocks relating to money, I was freeing myself from all the possibilities that I could actually achieve. And it was yeah, and thank you for that reminder. It's like, and in fact, I have been also going through massive shifts for myself in relates to money, and in relations to my emotions and everything else. And it and like what you mentioned, right? It's not about when you had 10,000 and then you suddenly had 100,000 a month. It was not about that money, but it was just what you actually believed in and that intention behind it. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of shifting as well, in terms of my own internal beliefs and in terms of my systems. And yeah, so thank you so much for that.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And you're exactly right, Pamela. It's not about the money, because when you do the healing, you start to feel so good, and then you're whole. So then you're actually able to attract from this place of wholeness. And that's why more money comes. But you feel so good that you almost don't feel like you need it. When it comes, it's, oh, great, this is wonderful, this is fun, I can play with it. But you feel so healed first that the money, the opportunities, all of it is a beautiful byproduct. But you feel so good. And that's also how you're on the path of reconditioning your mind, as you start to feel better emotionally, even if nothing has shifted yet in your physical world. But it will. Keep up with the work, and it will. And that gets to be very exciting too.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, anybody has any questions?
This healing program that we're talking about, how many sections do you actually need, to have be clear of your problem?
Sure, Faru. So how many, so what I did was not a specific, I kind of put together my own thing. It was really studying. I studied a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza. If anyone is a fan of his, I'm a huge fan of his. So I watched, he's got a program called Rewired on Gaia that's profound. That was probably the biggest that I studied. Rashida, I think Allison Chavez she's my mastermind partner, one of our mutual friends. So I went through her program, which is phenomenal. But it was more, it wasn't like a specific program. It was relearning. It was an unlearning and a relearning of how things work, of how energy works, of how to heal myself. But I would say those two were really, really helpful in that process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And at least, yeah, before we close the session, right? Just want to ask you also that the time when you were going through the pain of like your body image and all those negative things, you know, in your past, was there a particular incident that made you like just shift totally and said enough is enough? Is there something that make, yeah, because sometimes people go back to that same old thing, but is there something that like from where you were until where you are now, it's a big shift totally, right? Yeah. So
yeah, I that's a great question, Rashida. I think it was speaking it out loud. And I think because I had suppressed a lot for a long time, unhappiness in the marriage, the body issues, all of it. So I think it was speaking up for myself, saying that one, I needed to leave that relationship. And then two, with the eating disorder specifically, like telling someone. And that was a very scary, because I had a lot of pride and I felt very ashamed of it. But telling a coach who I had worked with on some other things that this was something I was struggling with, and then having that safe space with her, it really just took like a day, which I know sounds crazy. And there were still parts that took a little longer to heal, but in that one day of telling her and then understanding where that really came from and that it wasn't about the food, just like it's not about the money, it was very freeing very fast. So I think whatever the thing is that you're afraid to vocalize about yourself, tell someone safe, tell someone you trust, because when you let it out, it no longer owns you and you own it. And then you take your power back.
Yay! Thank you so much, Elyse. That's so powerful. Anybody else has any questions here before we close?
I have one more question.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
All right. This is about forgiveness. Like money relationship, it also comes from forgiveness, right? How much do you forgive people? I mean, from your childhood until the day you are present right now. How much do you forgive people in order to have that good relationship with money?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah. Forgive everything. Because it's not even for them, it's for you.
Yeah.
It's for you, because holding resentment keeps you in a bad vibration that which is going to block you from everything you want. So if nothing else, then just for you. Another book that is really healing that I would read if you haven't, it's actually a children's book, but it's called The Little Soul in the Sun. And it will really help you get perspective. It helped me get a lot of perspective on things that I felt were done to me that were wrong, that I was holding on to resentment about. And it helped me shift my perspective on that a lot. And so I highly, highly, highly recommend that book for everybody.
Because I totally have a lot of resentments on people.
Okay, and that's part of what's holding you back.
Yeah, I want to forgive, but at some point when I think back, whatever that they have done to me, it's like it's really holding me back from forgiving them and taking the control back. So I have a lot of resentment. So I really have to go deep and let it go.
Yes, it's time to let it, because that is also what's holding you back right now, and it's not hurting anybody but you. So it will free you when you decide to forgive them. And read that book, it'll help a lot. And it's not worth it for you to be held back anymore in your life. You've got to make that decision for yourself.
Right, thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
So thank you so much, Elyse. It's so powerful sharing. I know you all enjoyed this, right? And please, whatever takeaways, tips, or ahas that came up, please post inside the WhatsApp or send us put it inside the Kajabi community, whatever it is that you got from this, and I'll definitely share with Elyse. And Elyse, how can they follow you? Or you're on LinkedIn? Yep.
Yes, yeah. I'm on LinkedIn, all social media at Elyse Archer. I do a monthly masterclass, elysearcher.com/6figures. If you want to find out about that, I would love to connect. So absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Can you all turn on your cameras so we all can take a photo together? Yeah. Okay. Okay, all right, come. So all the beautiful faces. 1, 2, 3, smile. Ding. Yay!
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Elyse.
so much, Elyse. Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
thank you, everybody. Okay, good night.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing.
Thank you, Elise.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Elise.
Mas
Thank you so
Kiran,
much.
everyone.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Miss